Hey everyone, it's Ben. Hope everyone's well. Today is, of course, part 3 of my Stephen King week, where I talk about adaptions of his novels and short stories into feature films and miniseries. For today, I wanted to talk about going back to horror Stephen King, Needful Things. This film came out in 1993, and it's based on a novel that was published in 1991. The other thing I want to say real quick before I get into the review of this is I'm sorry for people that tried to access my Stand By Me review yesterday. There was some issues that I had. I initially had music going over the picture collage I had at the end of the video, where I had transitions from the movie into actual pictures that I took when I went to Brownsville, Oregon. Because of using the song Stand By Me by Benny King, they blocked it in the United States, so I had to re-edit the video with no music. So it kind of pissed me off, and I never had that happen before, so it was a little bit frustrating. But all that said, stay tuned for the review of Needful Things. Thanks a lot. So Needful Things was released in 1993. The film was directed by Fraser C. Heston, son of Charlton Heston. The film stars Max von Sydow as Leland Gaunt, Ed Harris as Alan Pangborn, Bonnie Bedelia as Polly Chalmers, Amanda Plummer as Nettie Cobb, and the late J.T. Walsh as Danforth Keaton III. It was adapted by W.D. Richter, and the basic story is that the devil comes to the town of Castle Rock. He comes in the form of a man named Leland Gaunt, and he opens up a small store in Castle Rock. And what this store houses is pretty much anyone in the town, anything they ever wanted, their ultimate wish for an item or their ultimate desires. And all that Leland Gaunt asks in return is a small favor. So each time that a townsperson accepts or purchases an item from Gaunt, accepting that they will do him a favor, they're in essence selling their soul to the devil. And this leads to jealousy, betrayal, and violence in the town of Castle Rock. And the Ed Harris character, Alan Pangborn, who's the sheriff, is trying to figure out what's going on and stop all this from happening. So the novel by Stephen King is actually a really good read. It's a long novel, but I really feel like it's a very fast-paced novel. It came out in 1991, 2 years before the movie would be released, and I was drawn to it right away because I felt there was a parallel between it and Salem's Lot, where in Salem's Lot, Straker comes to Salem's Lot and opens an antique store, but he's really an evil man that has a sinister plan for the townspeople. And I felt like, it's a little bit different here because we're dealing with the devil, but same kind of idea. He opens opens the antique store, opens Needful Things in Castle Rock, and he really has a sinister plan for this innocent town. There are some things about the novel I like better than the movie. One thing that's important to point out is that this was the last Castle Rock story Stephen King would write. Now, he had used Castle Rock, Maine as a fictionalized town in some of his well-known books, like The Dead Zone, Cujo, The Dark Half, and of course The Body, which would become Stand By Me. I actually prefer the book over the movie. I do like the movie, but there's a couple of reasons, a couple of different versions of the movie that I've seen, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The one thing I did like about the book that's a little bit better is that the items that Gaunt is selling people are junk. It's almost like they become so obsessed with them that they think they're seeing this prized item that is just beautiful beyond anything indescribable, and it's a wonderful item, and when somebody that's not as fixated on the item, somebody like Pangborn sees it, it's junk. It's almost like he's screwing with their heads, and that wasn't as clear in the movie. In the movie, the items are to anybody that sees them what they are to the person that wants them. So I thought it was kind of a cool way of showing how that the devil fucks with you in the book, is that he's making the items desirable to the people that want them. Now, the movie has a couple of really good things going for it. Number one, I really liked Max von Sydow as Leland Gaunt. I thought he captured the essence of the character very well from King's novel. Outside of The Exorcist, I hadn't really followed his career that much, but I really liked him in this movie. I had always been a fan of Ed Harris, and it was kind of neat to see him in another Stephen King adaptation after he had been in Creepshow many years earlier. And he does a great job as Ellen Pangborn. I really liked him in the role. He's really a likable man, and he's just trying to keep the peace in his town as the town is sort of imploding on itself, where people start, attacking one another over jealousy of, these tricks that Gaunt is having them play on each other. And it was great to see Bonnie Bedelia in another Stephen King adaptation, and I still have the hots for her, even today. Going back to Salem's Lot, just always been a fan of hers. And she's great as Polly Chalmers in this. And she plays a very sympathetic character because she has arthritis really bad. And she is dating Ed Harris's character of Pangborn in it. And her disability is used to Gaunt's advantage as he preys upon this. You really just see what a slimy piece of shit the devil is in this movie. And then Amanda Plummer, who I had only seen in I saw her in a Tales from the Crypt episode, and of course she would later be in Pulp Fiction. She's kind of a strange woman in real life. I've seen her interviewed, but she's really good as Nettie Cobb in this, and she plays a woman that had come from a abusive relationship that works for Polly at her little restaurant. And Gaunt is it's one of the first people Gaunt sort of sets his claws into and takes advantage of her vulnerability. And I think she really pulls that off really well. And there's a fight scene between her and Wilma, this woman named Wilma, and I think it's one of the highlights of the movie. Just an amazing scene. It's done with this awesome soundtrack to it. And then last but not least, who can say enough good things about character actor J.T. Walsh, who left us back in I believe he died in 1999. He is such a he's such a prick in this movie as Danforth Keaton III. But he was always good at playing those types of roles. But you really see that there's two sides to him in this. He's kind of a shyster, boat salesman, but he's also a bad gambler, and Gaunt uses this to his advantage. Gaunt sort of uses the Danforth character as sort of a patsy and some of the things he wants to do around the town. So it's it's a great performance by him. I think he's one of that JT is one of the strongest in the film, and it's a shame that he's no longer with us. Now, while I do enjoy the film quite a bit, I don't think it's as strong as King's book. But there is a 3-hour version of the film that I have seen. It's only aired on basic cable. I've seen it on TBS and channels like that. I've never seen it released on shown on a pay channel. So whenever it's been released, the movie's rated R, so it's been pretty much edited. The dialogue's been edited, but the actual 3-hour version of the film is 1,000 times better than the 2-hour, and you can't buy the 3-hour version anywhere. I had it taped a long time ago because the first time I saw it was a year or two after the initial theatrical release came out. The extended version, which is 3 hours, is so much better. There's this awesome chase scene at the beginning where the cops are chasing Leland Gaunt's car. They don't know who it is, and he's just racing through town and just slamming into things. It was really a cool scene, and and you see it in the trailer, but it never showed it in the movie. And I was always like, why don't they show this in the movie? But yeah, that's what happened. They cut it down to 2 hours, and I think it takes a lot away. The film just seems very choppy, and I think that's why I prefer the book over the movie. But like I said, it's good performances. It's got some great action towards the end of the film, and it is worth a look, I believe. It does have some really good scenes in it, and there are some pretty creepy scenes in it, but I really feel that they should release the 3-hour version. It's just a much better version of this film. Oh, and one other thing, going back to the novel real quick, there was one cool part of the novel that I wish they could have used in the movie, but they didn't. Ace Merrill, who was played by Kiefer Sutherland in the film Stand By Me, is actually in the book, and he is actually sort of the devil's pawn and causing the destruction in Castle Rock. That would have been cool if they could have somehow incorporated that into the movie Needful Things. Also, there's references in the book to Cujo and things like that, which I thought were cool. But yeah, they didn't do any of that for the movie. So all in all, not a terrible King adaptation, not a great one. I still enjoy watching it. There's a lot of good things about it, but not my favorite. Like I said, it's sort of a missed opportunity. I think they could have done more. But like again, I said the 3-hour version, I need to see it again because I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was such a better film than the cut 2-hour version. But again, I still enjoy the film. Not my favorite, but not horrible. And curious if anybody else has seen this movie or seen the 3-hour version. I'd like to hear their thoughts on it. And thanks so much again for watching. And part 4 will be coming tomorrow. So hope everyone has a nice evening. Take care.